friends, the show starts now. Welcome to the weekly roundtable, where the takes are hot and FOMO set to disable. Welcome to the weekly roundtable, where friends are made and we all drink that red maple. Break. Juan's got his eyes on the latest somehow. We being forex that make you go wild. Crypto crazy is a man on a mission like a Tesla. He most def got a vision. Weekly roundtable, we got no cables. Predicting the future using their bagels. Chart is throwing out numbers, no trouble. He finds the gems for real, no struggle. Calculations running through.
All right, we are back. How's everyone doing? Glad you are here with us on today's stream. I'm back from vacation, back in the studio. We apologize for the stream last week. We had technical difficulties. It was just kind of crazy doing the stream with me down in Florida and the boys up here. But it's all over now. I'm back. The markets are looking great. If you followed our last few videos, you would be perfectly positioned for this pump. We've been telling you guys that, there have been a lot of indicators showing that the market was going to have a turnaround, and it has. We'll show you some other data in a minute. We'll talk about different altcoins. We'll talk about Ethereum as well. It's finally leading the charge. We've been waiting for Ethereum to wake up, and it looks like it finally has. Chart, we'll talk about a little bit about the ETH to BTC chart. But anyway, gentlemen, how's everyone doing? Juan G, how you doing this week, sir?
100K days are here again. That's all I can say right now.
Cruiser, how about yourself? How are you doing?
Good. Long overdue this pump, but yep, good to see.
Yeah, exactly. Chart, how you doing, sir? Good to see you back.
Thanks for letting me come back. I appreciate it. I mean, I was begging for weeks and weeks, and you finally let me come back, so I appreciate that. I'm doing okay. Today's my fasting day, actually, of all days. You got to get me on. I may or may not be coherent, but it's okay. I got this water next to me, and it's got some salt in it. I should be all right, I think.
Okay. Well, no problem. If you fade, we'll just kind of sweep you under the rug, and then we'll.
No, it's okay. You know what? This bull run can get me going anytime. Anytime I see a pump in Ethereum for 20%, I'm good to go.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Speaking of charts, actually, we'll get right to it. First, we will show the BTC chart, and we show this every week. I'm sure our viewers know by now we have our buy zones and the resistance or sell zone, which Bitcoin actually perfectly touched. Let me get my arrow on here so everyone can see. Okay, so yeah, Bitcoin broke through the buy zone. It did consolidate here a little bit, broke through, and then it got rejected right at the beginning of the buy zone, which is at about 104,100 approximately. I do have the M2 global money supply backed on the chart as well. Now we've been showing how for quite a while in this cycle, the M2 money supply is approximately, we have up here 14 weeks. So about 90 so on days, a bit of a lag. But, you overlay that chart with the Bitcoin chart with that 14-week lag, and you can see Bitcoin is riding that pattern perfectly. So as global money supply went up, we had our previous all-time high. The money supply went down. We've had the correction that we've been experiencing now. And then, of course, now the money supply is skyrocketing with everything that's happening, the money printing over in China, et cetera. And Bitcoin is now following it. It's a great candle today, over $7,000 candle. Pretty close to a God candle. I know they say $10,000 is a God candle, but this is close enough in my books. That's looking really, really good. I'm going to take the M2 money supply chart off. I also wanted to show the parabola, so I'm going to change the chart to the weekly and show exactly what's going on with the parabola. So here we go. Orange circle indicates the bear market bottom, and then we have had 1, 2, and 3 touches on the parabola. We did have a bit of a fake out here, but so far so good. We have now retested for 2 straight weeks and then bounced up and current price action. Green line here is 100,000. We busted right through it. I thought we were going to have a little bit of resistance there. We did for maybe 2 hours or a couple of hours anyway. But then it just blew right through it. So that's awesome to see. A lot of strength, a lot of momentum in Bitcoin and crypto in general. So, gentlemen, what are your thoughts on the Bitcoin chart? I'll start with you, Juan. What are you seeing on the chart, and how are you liking Bitcoin's price action?
Well, ever since you showed that parabola, right, it's been on track. And it's been showing that bullish momentum. The news around the country has been bullish. So is this surprising? No, we talked about it. Keep your ears to the ground, listen to the music, and here we are, right? Like Bitcoin, if you look at the chart, it's breaking barriers, it's testing like it's supposed to, kind of then has a little consolidation and then move up again. So to me, is this really exciting? No. I mean, you look, if you pull back and look at the chart, you're like, okay, W pattern, typical, right? And things, these are things that we all discuss on the stream. And congrats to those who kind of rode this wave with us and is currently capitalizing in the market. And now we're in the new testing area, right? Are we going to break these new highs? Are we going to create new highs or higher highs? And then that's what I'm looking forward to for the next couple of weeks. If this bullish news continues, right? Because there's a lot of bullish news to discuss, and almost every aspect, whether it's government, whether it's technology, whether it's political, it's everywhere. So good stuff going on.
Beauty. Cruiser, I know you were caught a little bit off guard by this pump when we were talking about it earlier. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was actually, because I've been so busy at work lately. I haven't had much chance to pay attention to what's been happening in the market. So when I saw this today, it was well, a pleasant surprise on one hand, but on the other hand, it had to be coming. It's been coming for a long time. It's long overdue.
Yeah.
So it's great to see. And I don't always pay a lot of attention to the Bitcoin chart, but when I do see something like this, when I do look at it, it prompts me to look at the other charts and how the other tokens and projects are doing. And I'm sure we're going to get into that here. So I won't say anything more about that right now, but it's great to see after the last couple of weeks. I've been totally out of tune with what's going on.
Oh, for sure. Chart, I see you have a chart up. You want me to share that and you can give your opinion on Bitcoin?
Yeah, I was gonna show like the weekly. If you're sharing my screen, I'll show you what I mean. But you can see the weekly setup right here.
There you go.
Where you have this like head and shoulders pattern happening, and I think it's going to top out around 110, 100, and maybe 13,000 before we have some kind of a dip, just to reconfirm this area if we go over it, which is about 100,000, 102,000, whatever the case is. And then we have a blast off. So I think this actually is going to happen towards the end of the year, and we can get into some higher valuations, maybe like 160,000, 180,000 or whatever, because you can see we're getting higher and higher. So like these bottoms are getting more steeper. So like, you know, it's not taking so much time to find that bottom, you know, and then we're going to get higher. And when we get high, we're most likely looking at something like up here, you know, maybe 200,000, maybe 250 or whatever the case is. But then we'll have a decent retreat to this area here, you know, back to the touch this line right here, which could be at 150,000 or whatever. The bear market, I don't think it starts until probably after Trump leaves office, right? So it might be like 2029. So it depends on where we are, right, in the cycle. We can get up to here and then have this bear market and it's still pumped to 250, 280 by the end of his run. And who knows how crazy that can get, right? Because we don't know what he's going to do at the end of the day. I mean, he's fully invested in crypto. His sons are offering, you know, World Liberty financial tokens, which I obviously purchased in. And, you know, there's so much going on behind the scenes that it's like we've never seen anything like this, you know, and who knows where we're going to get after these 4 years. So I'm pretty excited about this.
Yeah, you know, this has been a cycle like no other. There's no doubt about that. But, you know, you hear little things like on crypto Twitter, like that dip down that we had down to 70, what did we get to? 76,000 or whatever it was. You know, people are saying that was the bear, the mini bear. And now we're going to have an extended bull. So that kind of ties into exactly what you were saying. And, you know, we've been preaching on this channel for weeks now that, you know, be cautious, obviously, you know, DCA into your favorites, but by no means are we going to settle into a 4-year bear market here, because we were hearing rumblings and seeing it all over Twitter and other social media that people are deciding to sell. And I couldn't understand, you know, all of us here were confused as to why people were thinking that it's over, the cycle is done. Far from it. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's probably just beginning, especially with, like you said, all the all the things coming up, and the big the T effect, the Trump effect.
And
But,
the thing is, why do we have to assume every cycle is going to be the same? You know, right?
Mhm.
Like we have this assumption that cycles will repeat exactly like they have in the past. We have this massive new variable in our hands, right?
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
completely pushing the narrative forward 4 years in the making. You don't think like the institutions are going to start to rally around all these altcoins, starting buying ETFs? Like you have Litecoin ETF lined up. I think Solana is approved in Canada. I mean, there's going to be a Cardano ETF and so on and so forth. So all of these little ETF listings will push institutions to buy into all of the craziness that happens with crypto. And I think that's going to have a trickle down effect.
Yeah, well, FOMO is a real thing, and it doesn't just happen to inexperienced investors. It happens to institutions and whales and elites alike. It's not just pinpointed just to the newbies in the space. Bitcoin just had another little jump, 103, 170. It's awesome to see. Okay, so while we're at it, let's go. And I also want to show, we haven't shown this in a while, but we were following the USDT dominance. And as you can see, it did have this uptrend, and it has broken down. I really want to see it come down to this, 4% range. Then we really see altcoins take off. But I mean, you look at this candle today, that is, it fell off a cliff. Just kind of ranged sideways here for about 2 weeks, and now it's falling right down. So that is really, really good to see. And then the other one is Bitcoin dominance. I do have 2 lines here drawn. The white one is like the main kind of trend or support that it's been following, and then I have the orange one, which is kind of a mini one on top of the main one. And it actually broke through. Let's see if I can zoom in. It busted down through it. So if it can continue down, I was expecting Bitcoin to have dominance for a little bit longer, but who knows? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe people are really tired of their altcoins, being worth 50% of what they were, say 3-4 months ago, or even less in some cases. So maybe the altcoins will rally a little bit more coming up, but we'll have to follow that and see. And then, Char, you were talking about just before the stream about the ETH to BTC chart, and you were seeing something in the ETH chart or ETH price that has got you really bullish on Ethereum.
Yeah, I'm going to try to present it so I can show you what I mean.
All right.
Yeah, let me share my screen. So
okay,
when you go to the ETH BTC chart, just like that, right? And you look at it from a really long perspective, like even back as far as 2017, right? It forms this giant trading channel. So this is basically the top. This is just blow off stuff, but really it's up here. And then it goes up again to 2021 to 2022, double tops right here. It goes all the way back to the bottom of the channel. So I should bring it all the way to the bottom, but it's really down here. And so because now it's at the bottom, we can have this long drawn out setup where, within the next 2-3 years, ETH is going to stay super strong, right? And completes this massive head and shoulders. Now it could very well stop right here, right? But that means in terms of its strength, it's going to be twice as strong as Bitcoin in the next 2 years. For example, if Bitcoin gets to 200,000, the percentage of the jump of Bitcoin is going to be double what it is in ETH. So ETH can go, 2x versus 100% for Bitcoin. So it all depends on what this chart does at the end of the day. We can even see it up here, which will be a 4x versus Bitcoin, right? So now the multiple is now 4x. And, it all starts from this point on. And we'll see what happens in the next 2 years. But I think, ETH should probably top around 12K in my estimation. I've had it for a few years at about right there, like at a top somewhere here. Right. So I think maybe we do get the bull run until 2027. Right. That would be amazing.
It's possible.
Right. And then if you look at also ETH and where it stopped, this long-term EMA, which is a 365 weekly EMA, it was used as a perfect support spot, right? In line with this area right here. And now it can most likely print that inverse head and shoulders, which is about here. And then we get into the top action. But I think until we see a full all-time high from ETH, we're not going to be considering anything worthy of a bull run. So until that happens, there's no bull run.
Now, let me ask you. I know you have a lot of faith in Ethereum, and a lot of people do. But for those of us that have a little bit of doubt, usually in a bull market, you have your blue chips that do well no matter what. I guess you can throw Ethereum in there, obviously, because it's the number one altcoin. But a lot of times, it needs something new, something that really gets people excited about the coin. Now, what do you feel? I know Ethereum just came out with a recent update or
upgrade, to make things cheaper and faster. Yeah.
That
one.
exactly.
That one.
You took the words out of my mouth. But I mean, what do you see is going to bring the enthusiasm back to Ethereum? I mean, there's a lot of people that have left. Clearly, a lot of people have left, both devs and investors, for cheaper, faster chains that are doing a lot. And Ethereum's just kind of, I don't want to say lagging behind, because Ethereum does what Ethereum does. It's got the number one DeFi DEX in crypto with Aave, and of course they have others. But do you feel that there will be something that will be a catalyst to really bring excitement back to Ethereum?
Can I ask you this question? I know
Sure.
it may sound so weird. Does it really need a catalyst?
Well, I didn't used to think so, but you got to look at the chart and see that.
And my question is like this, right? So,
okay,
why does like Coca-Cola, for example, always get business no matter what, right? Because it has a brand name and it has a long standing in the marketplace. So no matter like, they don't even need to advertise a lot of times, right? They just need to let people know that we're still there. And I think that's what ETH is. At the end of the day, it's a known brand. It's first of all a first mover. It set up the entire marketplace for all altcoins, and it's always going to be the index for altcoins, no matter what happens to anything else. No matter what layer one comes along and says we're faster, cheaper, whatever the case is. And I think as long as we have ETH, we have all altcoins. And so we really want ETH to do well. We want 20% gains every single day.
Yeah.
And so I think it doesn't need to have a catalyst. It just needs to exist. It just needs to be traded. It needs to have the volume, right? It needs to be strong. And I think that's really the catalyst. Just being in existence is good enough to me.
Well, I agree. You know what? I think that's one of the reasons why I know you had mentioned before that I'm, an ETH hater. It's not that I'm an ETH hater. You are exactly right that ETH is the leader. It leads the altcoin charge. And right now it's not doing that. And which is, making the rest of my bag suffer because the other altcoins are not following. But you mentioned the Coke analogy. Yeah. The reason, people always buy Coke because it's kind of embedded in people's minds is because Coke actually tastes good. That's
hold on a second. You telling me that ETH is that a good chain? It still is. It is. It still is, and it's super cheap now. So technically, it's still doing what it should be doing. Now, if it was stagnant and people didn't really consider dropping the fees structure or didn't want to scale properly, then I'd understand. I would say, you need to evolve with everything else. But I think they're trying to do that, and
they are now. I will agree, they are now. But the signs were there that they really needed to step up. And for a while, it was status quo. They weren't doing anything. Vitalik was off partying, doing his golf clap and dating, and kind of forgot about his baby.
You can't fault him for that, though.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, I'm glad to see it's finally waking up and doing well. Let's hope it continues because, Juan, I'll come to you now. You've been saying every single week that you really want Ethereum to wake up because when Ethereum wakes up, the rest of the altcoins wake up.
Totally agree. And some of the analogies actually make sense, right? So if we kind of refer to this Coca-Cola analogy, right? You look at the fact that Coca-Cola's formula has stayed the same for almost, 100 years, right? So it means if it's broke, you don't fix it.
Don't fix it.
But in Ethereum's case, it's broken. And what was the number one complaint, right? And we discussed it. We discussed it on our previous streams. What needs to change? The fact that these fees are so high, and people did see a reprieve from the fees, but that's just because volume dropped, right? But there was so much pressure for Ethereum to perform on this. What did they have to do? Increase its performance. So now the Ethereum block now is it's more efficient. So right now, I think before it was performing at 6 blobs. Now it's doing 9 per transaction. So that means now you're more efficient. The fee should drop. What else is it doing? It also now burns ETH. It became deflationary. Again, to spur on, right? The sufficiency to spur on price increase. But at the same time, what people are not realizing is this is a business. right? However, you want to look at Ethereum, you got to look at it from a business standpoint. And people were not making money on the transaction side because the volume has dropped so significantly. So I think that there was a better upgrade in the future. But because of this pressure that's been under, the way it's been performing, where it retouched September values, right, of last year, unnecessarily, by the way, right? Then I think that this is why we got right now, right, where things are bouncing, things are being pressurized, people are trying to create this enthusiasm. But I agree with Chart that we can't say it's bullish yet because it hasn't reached that level of okay, we're officially back. Because again, right, what's next after this upgrade? What is the plan for Ethereum?
Mhm.
Is it does it mean it's a catalyst? Maybe not, but it does need something to show that its resurgence is well founded. I don't think existing for Ethereum is enough. It has to have now why is it worthy of being a rival to BTC? Because it ain't because of store value. It's just not. So what is it? And back in the day, it was because it made you money, right?
Yep.
Whether it was NFTs, new projects, you got into ETH because you were making money when you joined it, right? Whether you held USDC, whether you purchased NFTs, whether you got into this new project that people were either, just generating new ideas to spur on new developments. Now it's not the same. It's not. Existing is just not enough. It has to provide. It has too much competition. Solana has gone on its way to charge in and show who's boss, right? XRP at one point for a week had a higher market cap, fully diluted, but still a higher market cap. So, which is unheard of. So ETH has been challenged and now it has to respond. And this is a good start, but I think we need to see more.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a good start. It's going to certainly bring back transactions and volume to the chain. The only thing that's concerned is when Vitalik brought out his plan. It's a 5-year plan. I know it's good. I mean, Ethereum's going to be around for the long haul. It's only going to get better, and we can safely say now that in 5 years from now, it's going to be a better chain, and so on and so forth. But the way crypto investors are, they're impatient. They don't want to wait that long for developers to get their way with Ethereum. I didn't want to use those words, but the thing with ETH, like you said, it was the first mover. It's the one that everyone knows. It's got the biggest DeFi indexes still in the market today, and the fees are getting down. Transactions going up. The TPS is faster. So it's showing signs. Let's just hope that it continues. And like I said, we need Ethereum to do well to lead the charge on alts. Cruiser, you were saying to me earlier today that Murphy's Law. Ethereum hadn't been doing nothing. It was kind of like that meme. You kick it and say, "Wake up, do something," and then you no longer have any trades, and then all of a sudden, boom, explode.
Well, yeah, Murphy's Law. Get it in my trades, and then it decides, hey, I'm going to have a day. But to comment on this discussion, now I'm certainly not a developer, nor am I a big investor in Ethereum. But as one of the little guys, I look at Ethereum like many other projects. It relies on progression to be successful, and that's where I started losing confidence in it because it stopped progressing. At least that's what it appeared. And Coke, yeah, it did try to fix what wasn't broken, and look what happened. And it can go the same for something that is broken. If they don't try to fix it, same sort of thing. It can go downhill quick. Coke recovered. Ethereum needs to recover. Today's a good start, but it's just that. It's only a start. It's got a long ways to go.
Yeah, agreed. Chart, I see that you're flipping through a bunch of charts there, and then I saw VRA. What the heck happened there? What was with that candle? Jesus, Murphy.
Yeah, I don't know. I was tracking VRA for a while because I used to have it, and it started to move, which was pretty cool. But then it started to move like 18% or 20% a day, and I thought, okay, something's up. And then today, like it lost basically the entire run. So I can tell you right now, it's a controlled pump, right? Somebody went in there and started to pretty much manipulate it as it started to go up. Like when it was dropping here, somebody came in, bought some more. When it started to drop, and bought some more over here. You know what I mean? So every single time it was supposed to fall down, somebody bought some to keep the price up, and then eventually manipulated it here, and then decided to start the trigger. Once you have this trigger, people who are leveraging are going to help the situation, which means they're just going to accelerate this drop so fast. And anybody who's bought into here, they're not watching this candle, they're going to get massacred. They're going to be like over here thinking like, shit, what do I do now? So, you know, it's so important to know on the chart itself if this was a spot to sell, right? And you got to look at certain things like, all right, was this a resistance spot? You know, this would be a spot I would sell right here. But it looks like it went a little bit further than that, and it was going to pump, I don't know, maybe around here. People are thinking maybe 5 or 5/10 of a penny. But yeah, as soon as it got to this level and then controlled pump was finished, it just dropped. So I think realistically it should have been here, right? This was the organic pump. This was the controlled pump. And then now we're actually where the demand is, which is right here, right? And so this is going to take to rectify it. It's to come back right. We saw what happened with Ohm, right? Mantra, I believe it's called.
Yeah, Mantra.
Same kind of thing, right? It dropped. And so now we're waiting, right? Because, things take time. So now it is a favorable fractal. I like this kind of setup where it's like a sloping downward wedge, and then we should have it out here, possibly to this level here, which is about a dollar, which is 2.5x, maybe 3x. But I think with this setup, it has to kind of claw back some of this, no matter what it is, even if it's a hack or insider selling, it doesn't matter. For technical traders, right? We look at the position between here and here, and we go halfway. So here, halfway is about $3.39. So if you're trading, you're thinking, okay, I'm going to get in. If we have this bullish momentum continue, most likely we get to 339, which is amazing, which is a 10x, right? So this is the kind of stuff I look at all the time. I see if there's any opportunities for inefficiencies to be bought, and sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. So.
Yeah, I remember because I have notifications for major price moves on certain tokens, and VRA is one of them. And I remember I kept getting, VRA is up 10%, up 9%, 5%, 12%. I was like, wow, this thing's doing really well. And then when you were flipping through the charts and I saw the VRA, I was shocked because I don't remember getting the VRA dropped 50% in any of my notifications. So I was a little bit shocked.
Yeah, it was out of this world because like normally you think it's an organic pump. It's an organic price action. And then I was looking at my watch list and it said minus 22%. I'm like, what? Did I see this correctly? And then, it basically retracted the entire pump, which tells me everything, really. Because you need enough people to think the same way, right? To make that happen. You know what I mean? If it's just one giant entity that's doing it, then it's easy. It's really easy.
Let's see. Oh, we have Black Cat is in the comments. Hey, Black Cat, good to see you. Glad to get back to the normal streaming routine. And what does he say here? No, I haven't prepared. I need to stock up. Boy, Black Cat, we've been telling you for months now to get your ass in gear and get stocked up. If you haven't stocked up or got your bags full by now, nothing more we can do for you. Anyway, good to see you. What do you got up there now, chart? I was going to show a few other things.
Yeah, while you're setting up your screen, I'm going through some of the setups that I like. I like a ride chain. It has retreated a ton from back in 2020 or late 2024. So like if you look at the top of that to the bottom of here, down 77%, right? So you're looking at getting 4 to 5x just to get to the baseline level, right? And so I like these setups because if it's fundamentally good, then it doesn't matter what it does now or even a week from now. It's going to give you that 2x, 3x, 5x, whatever the case is. But for Ori chain, if I take a look at the overall structure, I still don't think that this is seen a bull run. We have, bear market starting back in 2022, sorry. And then, we came out a bit in 2024, then it went down again. So I think there's still a lot of upside. If we're to ask ourselves, what do we expect in 2025, maybe 26, $50, anything up here, anything over here is good to me. So like top of that will be 57, bottom of that would be 38, at least a 3x to maybe 15x is probably where I would be selling.
Okay, so I'm going to now, thanks for that chart. I'm going to come back to here. And so here's the ETF inflows, outflows. Haven't showed them in a few streams because there was basically all outflows. You can see here we had, 9 out of 10 days where there was outflows. But as you can see, the last week or so has been a lot of inflows. The ETFs have began to sell again. Institutional or retail using the ETF means to get into Bitcoin and crypto. They've been doing really well. Inflows, we had a couple of days here in a row of close to $1 billion. There's 980 million, 917 million. What did we have 2 days ago? 675 million. So some big numbers. We went through a stretch there, as you can see, from approximately February 7th until, we'll say, about 2 weeks ago. So about April 11th, April 12th, there was a few small green days, but it was all outflows. And of course, that coincided with our recent correction that we had from an all-time high of 109,000 all the way down to a low of 76,000 and change. And as I said, some people consider that a mini bear, which I guess you can say it is a bear trend in a bull market. And then over here is the CBBI. We haven't shown this in a little while either, simply because there hasn't been any reason, obviously nowhere near the cycle top. And we still are not. We are at a 75 out of 100. Easy to see here. We have a long way to go before we get anywhere near a cycle top, according to these indicators. Chart, I think I've shown you this one before. Have you seen this one? Does it look familiar?
Yeah, I do remember you talking about this one. Can you remind me what the stat is on that?
Yeah, it takes all the top indicators for cycle top, like for example, the pi cycle or the pi cycle top, the Newpol, the Puel multiple, all the main ones, the MVRV, and it takes them all together and it creates this chart to kind of predict maybe where the cycle top will be, and it gives a number out of 100 as to whereabouts we are in the cycle. So as you can see in previous cycles, like back in 21, 22. Or 21, it got up to a 97. And then back in 2017, it was right up to 100. So this basically kind of gives you an idea of when the cycle top is. And right now we're nowhere near at a 75.
That's good.
Takes all the top indicators, right? Just easy to read.
Yeah,
instead of just using the individual ones. Okay, so I guess those, I was going to show the liquidations, but no need to show that today because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are in longs and they're doing really well right now, seeing as how Bitcoin has been doing well. What's it at now? Currently 103.29. Okay. Okay. Some other news that I wanted to talk about as well. I'm going to go back over to watch it grow. Now, I saw this earlier. Bitcoin with today's pump has officially passed Amazon to become the 5th largest crypto asset in the world by market cap, which was amazing to hear. Now all the shorts that were in the market, there were I couldn't believe when I looked at the liquidation chart or the heat map how many people were still in shorts on Bitcoin. And of course today they got wiped out. The number currently as of 7 o'clock is $830 million worth of shorts were liquidated. Well, a lot of people were bearish on the market, and that's what's going to happen. So going forward, I guess hopefully this continues. Obviously, we're going to have a little bit of a pullback. It's always expected when you get a pump like this, especially when you get a $7,000 candle on Bitcoin, and then everything is up between 8 and 20, 25%. Ethereum currently up over 21%, which is awesome, nearing 2,200. Chart, I know you're loving that. So Juan, you've been hearing some news down in your neck of the woods about some catalysts coming up and some bullish news on Bitcoin. What are you hearing?
Great stuff. If you kind of consider regulations and what's been in people's mindset. So we start off in the world of Missouri, and Missouri decides that if you want to trade Bitcoin, go right ahead. There will be no more capital gains tax. So that has officially passed. So congrats to Missourians who are going to enjoy the free flowing nature of trading. Yay.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's good news, right? Super bullish, especially for Missourians. Hopefully they, get into it and take advantage of anything that's tax free, right? Let's go for it. Then you also look at, you already covered the ETFs, but we also look at two states that are currently kicking ass in legislation, and they just passed their crypto reserves bill. So, for example, in New Hampshire, they're going to allow the state is going to be allowed to invest up to 5% of its funds into Bitcoin or any other asset that is over $500 billion in market cap. So it's not just geared towards Bitcoin itself, right? It's any blue chip stock. It looks like, any blue chip crypto. So that's again, right, moving the ball, putting things into perspective, and having states be involved in the whole crypto space, right? So good stuff there. We also have Arizona. They're going to have their own digital asset reserve fund, and it's also going to be managed mostly by Bitcoin. So they're going to actually have their own kind of hedge fund for for their reserves. Again, right? The whole point of it is, again, to kind of not always rely on the government to bail them out. The states are now going to be able to create funds and use those profits to help citizens and run their own programs, right? So these are great ways where crypto can actually help states, right? When you look at what else is going on, again, right? Everybody's talking about these trade deals. US and the UK finally came to an agreement. So is it really helping? Yeah, it looks like it is. It's dropping its digital taxes on that target American tech firms. So stocks like Nvidia, Intel, right? Now they're going to be able to not deal with digital taxes when dealing with UK customers. So, right, this is why we had these nice little blow ups when it comes to the stock market, right? Then we look at the regulatory improvements when it comes to banks. And now banks are given the green light to trade custody crypto assets. So that means if you actually own the crypto, you're going to be allowed to actually trade them, right? So with your bank. So, and I mean, it can't be Bitcoin, can't be DeFi yet, but it's starting to bridge that gap. So I still think that in this world, in order for crypto to be successful, you're gonna have to bridge the gap between regular finance and decentralized finance. It's gonna be a stopgap in there, and it looks like that's been going on there. And then last but not least, Coinbase continues to be Coinbase and decide to acquire an options broker called Deribit. $2.9 billion deal there. So you'll see things that are still happening in the market. And it's nice to hear cryptos buying other cryptos. And in this case, Coinbase, which is mostly known for crypto and being in the crypto space, are buying other crypto companies and other crypto assets to strengthen their portfolio. It's always good to have a leader. And now, although I'm not a big fan of Coinbase, it's good to see that they're trying to shake up the market and create new change, because they've always been a proponent of fighting Congress for different reasons when it comes to regulation. So I'm hoping that this is the path into finally settling is crypto going to be known as a security or not? And it looks like as more states get involved, we're going to finally answer this question. And that's it for the news.
All right, just a couple things to add there. You mentioned XRP. You mentioned Coinbase purchasing, or at least trying to broadening their horizons when it comes to crypto. XRP is another one that's doing that. We reported last stream that they made an attempt to buy Circle. That didn't work out, but they're continuing to build as well. And speaking of XRP, I saw earlier on Watch Guru that the case is officially finally done. It's over with. It's no longer an issue. So that's kind of a monkey off their back. As well, the overall crypto market cap, it increased by 300 billion today, which is a massive amount. And we're always talking about being safe and trying to prevent yourself from being scammed or your crypto getting stolen. A news article speaking of that, the former Celsius CEO, for those that remember Celsius, went belly up, and there was a huge, you can't really call it a rug pull, but it was a disaster. A lot of people lost a lot of money. The CEO, Alex Mashinsky, was sentenced to 12 years in prison for crypto fraud. That just came down today as well. So it does not pay to try to rip people off when it comes to crypto. You shouldn't anyway. But yeah, keep following the channel. We'll always bring you updates and different ways to keep yourself safe in crypto.
You know
Cruiser,
what else?
oh, sorry. Go
Let
ahead.
me add well, one more thing. You know what else doesn't pay? Apparently, bragging about your crypto. If you live in France, has become a dangerous place. There have been reported kidnappings, and those kidnappings have been targeting cryptocurrency entrepreneurs for ransom. Right. And guess what they're taking? The crypto space, because they're crypto, because again, right, you're not going to track those.
Right.
So here we are. Be safe. Don't brag about your $2 billion portfolio, and keep it small, keep it diversified, guys. And be safe. Yeah,
good advice. That's great. Okay, sorry, Cruiser, back to you. I was going to say, what's kind of caught your ear in crypto this week? What are you seeing? Is there anything you've been following? Any news? Oh, you're on mute.
Well, Juan just used one key word that I was going to throw out there about being diversified. If you're like me and you're over diversified, then all the green bubbles on crypto bubbles today is really exciting, because I have way too much diversification. But you mentioned earlier, things are up to like 20% gains today. Just going to throw a couple out there. Virtual up 49.8. Ethereum's up to 21.5. Brett 37.7%. Near is up 20%. ADA, say, HBAR, all up around 15%. And these are a lot of the well, I'm not going to say useless, because God, we know they're not useless, but I can't think of the word I'm looking for. But just, me being over diversified and seeing this, it's good to come back to it after being out of touch with the crypto space for the last couple of weeks. Even though I've been on the stream, my mind's been elsewhere before and after. This is this is a good day to kind of dive back into it. I don't think I'm going to jump back into an Ethereum trade right away. As mentioned before, I got out of all my trades, and of course, now it decides to do something. So, me and Ethereum today are not friends.
You could always short it.
Pardon?
You could always short it. No, just kidding.
Oh, yeah. My luck, it'll go up another 25% if I short it. Yeah, that's all I got. Just looking at all this price action and kind of seeing where I stand on things is it's the positive day.
Yeah, I've got the crypto bubbles up right now, and even a day like today, it doesn't matter what you're holding, you're going to be in the green. Obviously, meme coins are still relevant. You got Brett, Pepe, Pengu, Fartcoin. Well, I guess Pengu's not really a meme coin; it's a pudgy penguin coin. But Fartcoin, you got a few of them, and then other ones like you remember Theta from last cycle. I didn't think
have it.
Yeah. Oh, you still have it? Well, it's up 16% today. There's a few that are kind of irrelevant this cycle. Pol, formerly Matic, formerly Polygon, it's up 14.4%. So
that's the word I was looking for when I said useless. I meant irrelevant.
Oh, okay, yeah.
In comparison to top movers now.
Yeah, good to see. Okay, chart.
One more thing. The other thing to point out here, at the top of the crypto bubbles there, I don't remember the last time all those periods were green all at the same time. the hour, day, week, month, year. It's been a long time since all of them were green.
Yeah, true enough.
So
A lot of good ones on the weekly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the
Let's
monthly.
keep it
That's
going.
surprising, actually.
Well, and that's what I mean. Yeah, it's been a long time since we've seen green all the way across that the time periods.
Just shows how good of a
Oof.
a day, a week it really has been
That's a lot of red.
on the yearly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for
Yeah.
a few. You know, SUI, of course, XRP.
But there's a couple of notable ones there too. Render down 52.5, Gala down 58.7, Injective 52. Those are all ones I've been holding for quite some time, and say another one, and they've just shit the bed this year. GRT. So I'm not out of the woods yet.
No. And you know, I'm sure that goes the same for a lot of other people.
Yeah, of course.
You know, that are in the
Yeah.
same boat.
But we're
Anyway,
heading
yeah,
in the right direction.
I'll pass it on to Chart yourself. I'm not sure what you've been following. Is there anything specific you've been following? You know,
Well,
in the
what's
market
interesting
overall?
to me is I'm wondering if this NFT market is going to ever come back, right? Because we have a whole bunch of tokens that launched just before 2025, namely Magic Eden, and you know the setup looks amazing, prime for like a really bullish market, and sitting at $1, right? And the upper end of that could be possibly like $22, $23. So there's like lots of opportunity there, especially if you know the NFT market does come back. Magic Eden token is going to do crazy numbers, including Tensor. I think Tensor is going to do as well, but I think especially Magic Eden, knowing that it is the big boy in the NFT marketplaces right now, and it's sitting at $1. So you know, if you truly believe the NFT market is going to come back, and I think it will, Magic Eden is a good play. But the other one that kind of like I remembered today was Doodles is launching Dude, the token, their own token. I think it's tomorrow, and I believe there's going to be possibly some people that are holding certain NFTs in the Solana ecosystem. They're going to be eligible for that token. So maybe through Phantom, you'll be able to see whether or not you're eligible for an airdrop. So check for that if you're looking to get some maybe free money from that Dude airdrop. But it should be fun. But the marketplace is still good. Like Klano is releasing a new collection on Sui, I believe, specifically targeting more retail collectors and so on and so forth. So I think, you know, the good collections, the good IPs are still there, and I think they're going to do okay.
Awesome. Okay, I guess we'll get some final thoughts. Anybody have any final thoughts before we end this week's stream? Anything to add? Juan, did you want to go over the gold chart real quick, or?
We don't have to go over gold, but I'm going to mention it in my final thoughts. So, you know, everything's being said about today and even the last couple of days and how bullish Bitcoin has been. But I remember on our stream, we talked about being smart, looking for discounts, diversifying yourself, and getting into a couple of blue chips here and there that might help you in the future. And if we just go over, and we'll start with XRP. If you would have bought XRP a month ago, you would currently be up 31% month over month. You would have gone into Cardano, again, 38% month over month. You talk about Ethereum, you would have bought it again just a month ago, right? Just listening to our stream, looking for discounts, where it's 1,500 and hit 1,400 temporarily for a little bit. You'd be up right now 45% on your portfolio. You look at Solana, and Solana was like, oh my God, the sky is falling. A month ago, you would have been up 55%. My little darling that was introduced to me by Cruiser himself, Sui, you would have bought it a month ago, you'd be up 108%. Talk about gold, right? And you know how gold it has been on this tear. A month ago, you'd be up another 11%. Again, if you know you buy gold one for one, but usually you would trade it with leverage, and you'd be up quite significantly. It just goes to show that there is always a place for holding onto your assets, buying assets at discounts, being diversified, paying attention to the market and what's happening, and seeing gold fluctuate and where gold's money is going, right? What's it doing? All right. Well, why did we see a drop today? And then all of a sudden it recovers miraculously, right? Strongly. I still think that gold is still overvalued at 3,300, but the market is saying you're wrong. And that can be. And here we are hovering at 3,300. I'm still $180 away from its all-time high, but it's doing well. At the end of the day, you know, when you're investing, you're taking a risk, you're taking a gamble, you're paying attention, and hopefully you make an informed decision. Doing this last month, you know, portfolio is looking pretty right now, right? Looking for those discounts. Will there be any more future discounts? We don't know, right? I think we all foresee a retracement. How far that retracement might be, not sure. But this is just a key way of kind of listening to making sure we pay attention to what's happening, and being keeping our ears to the news cycles and what's happening. And here we are. Hopefully, you guys have also been seeing a portfolio in upwards of 30% or higher. And congrats to those who are, you know. And if those were not, you know, maybe you hedged against us, or maybe you hedged against the market. Lesson learned, right? Move on. It doesn't mean we quit. We just, you know, try a different way of achieving things. So thanks for those two for listening and listening to my little diatribe here. That's all for me.
Awesome. Thanks for that. Cruiser, yourself.
I just want to mention, I've talked in the past about doing a video series called Back to Basics, which I just want to let those who know or who were waiting for it know. I still have it in the plans. As mentioned a couple times tonight, things have just gotten crazy out in my world, so I've been extremely busy and tied up a lot. So I do still plan on going ahead with that series as soon as I can. In the meantime, for those that are new into the space, just do your research. We've said it 100 times. We'll say it 1,000,000 more. You know, do your own research before you get into anything. And by all means, reach out if you have questions. We'll answer them the best we can. And I'll keep people posted on that video series because it is still coming. It's just been delayed. And that's all I got.
Thank you. And Chart, yourself.
Not market related, but more like mental health related. There's moments in my long journey in crypto that, you know, you have your highs and you have your lows. And sometimes in your lows, you got to have a support group to help you through that moment, you know. And it's sometimes invaluable when you are in that low to have that person say, you know what, smarten up, you know what you're doing, everything's going to be all right. Because, you know, it's very, very difficult to stay positive the entire bear market, even though you've done your research, you've done your due diligence, you know what you're doing. Sometimes you need that pick me up from you know, somebody that at least has some history knowing you and knowing what you've done. So for those that are listening, just find that person that can give you the pick me up from time to time, because it is not easy to try to navigate this yourself, or just in this case, listen to this stream and this could be your pick me up, you know. But yeah, for those that are new to this, have that person that you can rely on to make sure that you're not veering away from the goal that it's in front of you.
That's awesome. That's great advice. Yeah, and appreciate the shout out. Yeah, you're right. It is it's tough sometimes when the market is down, and it's down for an extended period of time, like we just went through there for what 1, 2, 3, 4, a month and a half, almost 2 months. And of course, we had that major. When was that? That really bad month, March. Yeah, it's really hard to stay positive, stay focused. We do these streams each week, and then we do a video on Mondays, kind of a weekend report. At least we really try hard to make sure we bring that content weekly. But there are some weeks when it's just really, really hard. Like, you just bringing yourself up to doing a video. You know, after a while, you get tired of saying the same old thing. Yeah, market sucks. Things are down. Macro is not good. You know, And then, of course, if you follow social media, crypto Twitter, and even Telegram and the like, and even though you've got a lot of confidence in the market, maybe not at the moment, but in the future, the long term growth of this of the crypto market is exponential. But you constantly hear people say, "Oh, we're going back down, bear market 20,000, we're going down to 50,000, whatever it is." It's really hard to maintain that positive energy, that positive attitude. So you gotta make sure you find surround yourself with like-minded people that are not always negative Nancy, that have a good positive outlook. Yeah, they may be short-term bearish, but you can still be a bull in a bearish market. And getting yourself mentally right and in the game and staying focused, it can be difficult. So yeah, that's true. It's one of the hardest things about crypto is the psychological part of the market, not just the actual market itself and the gains that you make.
Let me add something to this conversation, because I totally agree with Chart here, and it's something that just to be off topic and just can take in back to a worldview that we live in a time now where we always feel that we have to choose a side, and that's the side we're going to be on, right? Like we're going to be bull, and whatever we say, it's always going to come out bullish, or we're going to be a bear, or we're going to be Republican, we're going to be a Democrat, we're going to be left, we're going to be right. Like, there's nothing wrong to listening to opposite opinions of what's happening. If the opposite opinion that you're listening to has basis to it, Case in point, where Crypto Crazy was mentioning about how these bears were talking about it, that price is going to go down to possibly 77 or even lower, but really had no basis for it. So anybody who was thinking, hey, I just listened to opposite information, doesn't make sense to me, I don't see why, you would hedge your bet against it. Makes sense. Same thing, right? The time for I'm not gonna join the president if I get invited, even though I don't like him, it's dumb. You should listen to the other side. Should always be open-minded enough to be open to critical thinking. It has nothing to do with choosing a side, just listening and making your own decisions. And I think here is a great example where, you're going to need that mental fortitude. And sometimes hearing the opposite message can help you solidify your decision even better because there is no basis for it. Or it can make you think and say, you know what, that might be right. Let me look into that more. At the end of the day, you want to always arm yourself with the best tools available to yourself to not just mentally fortify you, but to also make the best decision possible for you and your family, right? So this is kind of, again, a little off topic, but 100% agree that you should always be willing to be open to different sources and not just dispose of it because it's not an alignment to who you are.
Yeah. And relating that to the crypto market, your mental health is just as important as your financial health. So you got to make sure you keep them both at the top notch. And you know what? For myself, maintaining my bullish status, even though we were in a bullish trend, I knew that it was going to eventually turn around. And right here, these last few days is what makes it all worth it. So just be patient and know that good things are coming. Okay, I guess that ends the stream. Thanks, guys, for joining me. I appreciate all of you coming again, Cruiser, Juan, and Chart. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And don't forget, nothing on this video is considered financial advice, strictly for entertainment and educational purposes only. And we are not politically affiliated with anyone. We just give our views and opinions. Once again, thanks, guys, for joining me. I appreciate it.
See you guys.
All right. Thanks, guys.
And we'll see everybody next week. Take care.